I went to the post office to pick up a package, but the clerk handed me an extra one. He said, "Your husband asked us to give you this today." Froze. My husband has been dead for years. Inside was a note. Ask the children why they lied about my death. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from. The old clock on the wall ticked loudly as I stood at the post office counter. My hands shook as I held the brown box. 63. I had learned to keep my life simple and calm. Every Thursday morning I came to town, post office, then the bakery, then home to my cottage. The same thing every week. Made me feel safe. Mrs. Chun, the post office lady, called my name. "Betty Morrison, I have your box from your granddaughter in Florida." I wrote my name on the paper. My writing looked messy now. My fingers didn't work as well as they used to. "Thank you, Mrs. Chun. Hold on." She went to the back room, and I heard her looking through boxes and papers. When she came back, she had another package. This one was small and wrapped in white paper. No name on it. "Oh, I almost forgot this one. Your husband left this here last month. He told me to give it to you today. Only today." The room started spinning. My bag fell from my arm and hit the floor. Everything inside spilled out. Keys, wallet, tissues. But I couldn't move to pick them up. "I'm sorry. What did you say?" Mrs. Chun looked worried. "Are you feeling okay, Betty? You look very pale." "Mrs. Chun," I held on to the counter tight. "What did you just say about my husband?" "Your husband brought this box here a few weeks ago. He said to keep it safe and give it to you on November 10th. Today is November 10th, so here it is." She smiled and pushed the box toward me. "My husband died 4 years ago." The smile disappeared from Mrs. Chen's face. "What? No, that can't be right. Mrs. Morrison, I'm so sorry. But George brought this box himself. I remember, because he was very careful about the date. He made me write it down 3 times. George died 4 years ago." My voice came out quiet and shaky. "Heart attack in our bedroom. I found him there. Myself." Mrs. Chen's face turned white like paper. "Betty, I promise you George was here 3 weeks ago. He stood right where you are now." The package felt heavy in my hands. I looked at the writing on the label. It was George's writing. Very neat and careful, the way he always wrote. Shopping lists and birthday cards. "I need to sit down." Mrs. Chun ran around the counter and helped me to a chair. "Should I call someone? Your son Michael? Your daughter Anna?" I said it too fast and too loud. "No, don't call them." I didn't know why I said that. Something inside me said this package was secret. Just for me, not for Michael or Anna. Not yet. Mrs. Chun brought me water in a paper cup. I sat there for a long time just staring at box. Finally, I felt strong enough to stand up and walk to my car. The cold November wind hurt my face as I walked across the parking lot. I held both packages close to my chest, one from my granddaughter, one from my dead husband. The drive home to my cottage took 10 minutes. I had driven this road so many times, but today it felt strange and scary. Every car that passed me seemed to be watching. Every person on the sidewalk seemed to know something I didn't. My cottage sat at the end of Maple Street, a small blue house with a white fence. George and I had bought it 30 years ago when we got married. It had a tiny garden where I grew tomatoes and flowers. Since George died, the garden had become messy and wild. I couldn't take care of it alone. Inside, I locked the door, something I never did during the day. Before George died, I always felt safe here. Now the house felt empty and quiet. Too quiet. I put my granddaughter's package on the kitchen table, but didn't open it. Put George's package next to it. It was about as big as a book, very light. I walked around it many times. I made tea but didn't drink it. I cleaned the counter that was already clean. I was scared to open the box. Finally, I sat down and opened it. Inside was a small silver key, the kind that opens a safe box. Under the key was a piece of white paper folded in half. My hand shook so much I almost ripped the paper. The writing was definitely George's. Betty, if you are reading this, then I really am gone. Enough time has passed. I'm sorry this will shock you so much. I gave this package to Mrs. Chin because I knew she would remember me and tell you it was really me. You needed to know this came from me, not from anyone else. On this key is the answer to everything. I found something bad in the months before I died. I should have told you then, but I wanted to keep you safe. Now you need to know the truth. Ask the children why they didn't tell you the real story about how I died. The answer is in a safe box at First National Bank, box number 327. But get ready, my love. What you find will change everything you think you know about our family. Michael and Anna did what they did to protect you. But now they're in danger. They need help and don't know how to ask. Trust no one until you understand everything. Not the police, not our neighbors, not even our children. Not at first. You are braver than you think. You always were. Forever. You're George. I read it 5 times, then 10 times. And I stopped counting. Asked the children why they lied about my death. Had been there. I had found George lying on our bed, not breathing. Cold. I had called the ambulance. I had watched them try to save him, but couldn't. I had planned his funeral with Michael and Anna next. To me. Both of them crying. What lie? What didn't they tell me? My small metal box with important papers sat on the shelf. George had taught me to keep birth certificates and old photos there. It took me 15 minutes to find the courage to walk to the shelf and open the box, but I needed to see something. George's death paper from the hospital, the one that said how he died. I opened the metal box with shaking hands. There were old photos of our wedding, photos of Michael and Anna when they were babies, and the paper from the hospital. It said George Morrison died of a heart attack on March 3rd, 4 years ago. That's what I remembered. That's what everyone told me. But George said the children lied. Oh, I held the silver key tight in my hand. First National Bank was in town about 20 minutes away. I could go there tomorrow morning, but something told me to go now, right now. Before I lost my courage, I grabbed my coat and my purse. I checked that the key was safe in my pocket. As I opened the front door, my phone rang. It was Anna, just calling to check on you. Are you okay? Her voice sounded normal. Carrying the way she always sounded when she called me every Thursday. I'm fine, sweetie. Just got home from post office. I didn't tell her about the package. Why? I don't know. Something inside me said keep it secret. Did you get the cookies I sent? They should arrive today. Not yet. Maybe tomorrow. Delight. The box from Anna was still sitting on my kitchen table. I hadn't opened it yet. Bae. Well, I just wanted to hear your voice. I love you, Mom. I love you too, Anna. After I hung up, I felt sick to my stomach. I had just lied to my daughter. I had never lied to Anna or Michael, not once in their whole lives. George's letter said, trust no one. So I didn't. The drive to First National Bank felt like it took hours. But the clock said, only 18 minutes. I parked in the parking lot and sat in my car for a long time. What was in that safe box? What didn't my children tell me? What danger were they in? Finally, I got out of the car and walked inside. The bank was busy. People standing in lines, workers at desk. A young man at the front desk smiled at me. Hello. How can I help you today? I need to open a safe. Held up the key. Box number 327. Of course. Let me get someone to help. You. He called a woman named Miss Peters. She was about 40 years old with red hair and glasses. She looked at my key and nodded. Follow me, please. We went through a door and down some stairs. At the bottom was a big metal door, like in movies about banks. Miss Peters used her key and my key together to open a small box in the wall. Here you go. You can look at it in that private room. She pointed to a small room with just a table and a chair. Take all the time you need. When she left, I opened the metal box. Inside was a large, yellow folder, very thick, full of papers and photos. I sat down and opened the folder. The first paper said, "For Betty, everything you need to know. I'm writing this 1 month before my planned death." Yes, planned. I'm so sorry, my dear Betty. But by the time you read this, you will understand why I had to trick you. 6 months ago, I found out that Michael's business partner, a man named Richard Stone, was lying. His real name is Richard Cross. He is part of a group that steals money from people. They were using Michael's company to hide the stolen money. Michael didn't know about it. When I told Michael what I found, he was so upset. He had trusted Richard. He had made Richard his partner. He had let Richard control everything. Collected proof. Lots of it. It's all in this folder. But when I started collecting proof, bad things started happening to me. Someone broke into my office at work. My papers were messed up. Someone did something to my car. The brakes stopped working one day. You never knew because I fixed it before you found out. I realized I had 2 choices. Tell the police and hope they could keep our family safe, or disappear in a way that would make the bad people think the danger was gone. Cause her to die. The tears filled my eyes so much I couldn't see the words. I wiped my eyes and kept reading. Anna helped me plan everything. She knows people from her job in Boston who understand how to make things look real. Michael doesn't know the full truth. He thinks I really died, but he knows why the bad people wanted to hurt me. My death gave us time. Time for the proof to be collected properly. Time for Michael to get away from Richard. Time for the investigation to happen without our family being in danger right away. But I'm afraid my time is really running out now. My heart problem is real, Betty. The doctor told me I have 6 months, maybe 1 year. Chose to use my time left protecting our children from the bad people. If you're reading this, I'm really gone now. But the danger is still here. Richard doesn't know how much proof I collected. He thinks my death made everything go away. But he's been watching our family, waiting to see if anyone continues what I started. Michael is in danger. Anna is in danger. They tried to protect you by not telling you the truth. But now you need to know. Now you need to help them. Proof is here. The question is, what will you do with it? I need you to be brave, my love. Braver than ever before. Trust yourself, George. I sat in that small bank room, in that cold metal chair, holding the folder that showed my husband's last gift to me. And I felt something I hadn't felt in 4 years. I felt him with me, helping me, guiding me. But under that warm feeling was cold fear. Because if George had died, really died 6 months after pretending to die, that meant something. Either his heart problem killed him like the doctor said, or someone found out he was still alive and killed him for real. And if someone killed George, they did it knowing I was the sad widow who found her husband's body. They watched me cry at his funeral. They saw me living alone in my cottage. They thought I was safe to ignore. A sound at the top of the stairs made me freeze. A step slow and heavy. Someone was coming down. Closed the folder quickly. My heart was beating so fast. The door to the safe box room had a small window. I looked through it. Mun, in a dark suit, stood at the top of the stairs, looking down, looking for someone, looking for me. I didn't recognize him. I grabbed the folder and held it close to my chest. There was another door at the back of the room. An emergency exit. The sign glowed red in the dark. I pushed it open as quietly as I could. An alarm started ringing. Loud and sharp. Ran. My old knees hurt. My lungs burned, but I ran faster than I had run in 20 years. The emergency exit led to an alley behind the bank. Could hear shouting behind me. Someone yelling for me to stop. I didn't stop. I ran to my car. My hand shook so badly, I dropped my keys twice before I could open the door. I threw the folder onto the passenger seat and started the car. The man in the dark suit ran out of the bank. He was looking around, looking for me. I drove away fast, too fast. My tires made a loud screech sound. In my mirror, I saw the man pull out a phone. He was calling someone, telling them about me. I drove without thinking. Away from the bank, away from my cottage, away from everything familiar. My phone rang. Michael's name on the screen. I almost answered, but then I remembered George's letter. Trust no one, not even the children. Not at first. I didn't answer. The phone kept ringing. Then it stopped. Then it rang. Again. I turned it off. I needed to think. I needed to understand. I drove to the old library on Elm Street, the one where George used to take me on Saturday mornings. We would read newspapers and drink. Puffy felt like a safe place, a place from happier times. Inside the library, I found a quiet corner. I opened the folder again. There were bank papers showing money moving from place to place. Photos of Richard Stone meeting with men I didn't know. Letters between Richard and someone called the collector. And recording small cassette tapes. George had recorded conversations. I found an old cassette player in the library's music section. The librarian, Mrs. White, smiled at me, remembered me from years ago. I put on headphones and played the first tape. George's voice filled my ears. Betty, if you're listening to this, then I'm gone. And you found the folder. I'm recording these so you understand everything. Richard Stone isn't working alone. He has a partner. Someone who works with the police, someone who has been protecting the stealing operation, feeding Richard information about investigations. I don't know who it is yet, but I'm close to finding out. That's what makes this so dangerous. My blood went cold. Someone in the police was helping Richard. That's why George said, don't trust the police. I've written down everything. Money transfers fake. Companies, the people who lost their money. But the police partner is very smart. They covered their tracks. Well, I need proof, not just guesses. The recording stopped suddenly. Played the next one, then the next one. Listening to my husband piece together the puzzle. By the fourth recording, George's voice had changed. Sounded scared. Someone followed me. Today. Black car with dark windows. They didn't hide. They wanted me to know they were watching me. Fifth recording. I'm planning my fake death. Anna found someone who can help. I hate lying to Betty, but if she thinks I'm dead, she's safe. They won't bother her. Sixth recording. His voice was breaking. Crying. I love you so much, Betty. I'm sorry for what I'm about to make you go through, but I need you to believe I'm gone. Really gone. It's the only way to keep you safe, but he had died eventually. Really died. The last 6 recordings were made after his fake death. From wherever he was hiding, his voice got weaker with each one. The heart problem was getting worse. The final recording was dated 6 months ago, 1 year after his supposed death. Betty, my love, I don't have much time left. The heart problem is worse than the doctors thought. I'm arranging for this key to reach you after I'm really gone. Everything you need is in the safe box. Trust yourself. Trust your feelings. And please forgive me for the lies. I did it all because I love you. Then quiet. Then nothing. I sat in that library, in that dark corner crying for my husband who died twice, who gave up everything to protect us, who trusted me to finish what he started. A shadow fell across my table. I looked up. A woman stood there, about 50 years old, short black hair, police uniform. My name is Officer Davis. I've been looking for you, Mrs. Morrison. Ice ran through my body. How did she find me? How did she know where I was? Mrs. Morrison, we need to talk about the folder you took from the bank. The security cameras saw you. Why did you run? I stood up slowly. My legs felt like water. How do you know about the folder? Because I've been investigating Richard Stone for 2 years. Your husband was helping me before he died. I'm here to help you, Betty, but we need to leave now. It's not safe. Here. She reached for my arm, pulled away. How do I know you're telling the truth? How do I know you're not the police partner George talked about? Officer Davis's face changed. Surprise, then respect. Your husband was right. About you. You're smart. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. It was George Life, sitting in what looked like a hotel room with Officer Davis next to him. This was taken 8 months ago, 3 months after his supposed death. George and I were working together to catch Richard and his partner, but then George really died. Heart attack before we could finish. I stared at the photo. George looked thin and tired but alive. Who was the partner? The corrupt police officer. That's what I'm trying to find out. George died before he could tell me. But I think it's someone high up. Someone with access to all our investigations. Someone Richard trusts completely. How did you know I'd be at the library? I've been following you since you left the bank to protect you. The man in the dark suit was one of Richard's men. If I hadn't been there, he would have caught you. I wanted to believe her. But George had said trust. No one. Then prove it. Tell me something. Only George would know. Officer Davis thought for a moment. George told me about the first time he met you at a coffee shop on Main Street. You were reading a book about birds. He spilled his coffee on your book, and instead of getting angry, you laughed and said it gave the book character. My eyes filled with tears. That was true. That was exactly what happened 50 years ago. They believe you, but we need to leave now. Davis looked toward the library entrance. He saw them pull up. 2 police cars, but I don't know if they're here to help or hurt you. We left through the back door. Davis led me to her car parked behind the building. As we drove away, I saw police officers entering the library looking for me. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. Somewhere I can show you what else George found. We drove for 30 minutes out of town into the countryside. Finally, we stopped at a small cabin in the woods, hidden from the road. Inside was a table covered with papers and photos like George's folder. This is everything I've collected. Davis spread out the papers. Richard Stone's real name is Richard Cross. He's been stealing money for 15 years, moving it through fake companies, using real businesses as cover like Michael's company. I looked at the photos. Richard meeting with men in suits. Richard at fancy restaurants. Richard getting into expensive cars. He's stolen over $30 million. And his police partner has been protecting him the whole time, hiding investigations, warning him when people get too close. Like George, my voice came out as a whisper. Did they kill George? Davis met my eyes. Think so. George's medical records show someone changed his heart medicine 2 weeks before he died. Swapped his real pills for fake ones. Without his medicine, his heart problem became deadly. Ooh, who would do that? That's what I need your help to figure out. George left clues in his recordings. Clues about who the partner is, but I can't understand them. Maybe you can. We spent the next 2 hours going through everything. Papers, photos, the recordings, and then I saw it. In one photo, Richard was at a party, standing next to a woman in a police uniform. She was laughing, relaxed, comfortable. That's Chief Anderson, Davis said. She's been with the department for 20 years. Very respected. She's also Richard's partner. I said it with complete certainty. How do you know? Because George took me to a charity dinner 2 years ago. I saw them together. Richard introduced her as a sister. But the way they looked at each other, the way they whispered, I told George something seemed wrong. He must have started investigating after that. Davis's face went pale. Chief Anderson is Richard's partner. That's why every investigation died. That's why George had to fake his death. She controlled everything. We need proof, said Real. Proof that shows she's guilty. We have it. Davis pulled out a small recording device. George gave this to me before he died. It's a recording of Chief Anderson and Richard talking about killing someone who was getting too close to their operation. He pressed play. A woman's voice came through the speaker, cold and angry. This math teacher is becoming a problem. He's collected too much information. We need to handle it. Richard's voice responded. How do you want to handle it? Make it look natural. He's already dying. Just speed it up. They were talking about George. Planning his murder. Making it look like his heart just gave out. Felt sick. These people had killed my husband, and they had made me believe it was natural. That it was just bad luck. Davis turned off the recording. This is enough to arrest them both. But I need your help. We need to make them think you don't know anything. Make them think you're just a confused old woman who found some papers she doesn't understand. Why? Because if they think you're dangerous, they'll kill you too. But if they think you're harmless, they'll make a mistake and we'll catch them. Understood. I needed to be bait. Bae, what do I do? Go home. Normal. Michael or Anna call. Answer. Tell them you're fine. Tell them you found an old folder of George's, but didn't understand it. Tell them you threw it away. They'll tell Chief Anderson. She'll relax. Think the danger is over. And then tomorrow night there's a town meeting at the community center. Chief Anderson will be there. Richard will be there. Michael will be there. You need to go bring the folder. Stand up in front of everyone and ask questions about George's death. Make it public. Make it loud with everyone watching. They can't hurt you. And we'll record everything they say. Thought about it. It was scary, dangerous, but it might work. Bae, I'll do it. Davis drove me back to my cottage. It was dark. Now, my house looked cold and empty. Before I got out of the car, Davis touched my arm. Betty, you're the bravest person I've ever met. George was right to trust you. I went inside. Everything looked normal, like nothing had changed, but everything had changed. I knew the truth now. I knew George had died protecting me. Knew my children had lied to keep me safe. I knew bad people were still out there. My phone had 17 missed calls. 10 from Michael, 7 from Anna. Called Michael first. He answered immediately. Where have you been? I've been calling all day. Sorry, honey. My phone died. I was at the library reading. Are you okay? You sound worried. I'm fine. But, Mom, did you go to the bank today? The bank called me. They said, you opened Dad's old safe box. My heart raced, but I kept my voice calm and confused. Oh, that I found an old key in a drawer. I thought it might open a box with important papers, but it was just some old work files of your father's. Nothing important. Threw them away. Silence on the other end. Then Michael's voice. Careful and slow. You threw them away. Just boring math papers and old bills. Nothing worth keeping. Why should I have kept them? No, that's fine, Mom. I'm just glad. You're okay. Who said goodbye? But I knew he didn't believe me. He was going to tell someone. Tell them I had the folder. Tell them I didn't understand it. Tell them I threw it away. That was the plan. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about George, about the life he sacrificed, about the love that made him willing to die twice. I thought about Michael and Anna, how they had carried this secret for 4 years, how they had protected me. Tomorrow I would protect them. The next morning I got dressed in my best blue dress, the one George always said made my eyes look pretty. I did my hair, put on lipstick. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like a grandmother. Harmless. Perfect. The town meeting started at 7. I arrived at 6:30. The community center was already filling with people, neighbors, town officials, police officers. I saw Chief Anderson at the front, confident, wearing her uniform with all her medals. I saw Richard Stone sitting in the third row, smiling, relaxed, thinking he was safe. I saw Michael come in with Anna. Hey, looked surprised to see me. Anna rushed over. What are you doing here? I wanted to hear about the new town budget. I said innocently, it affects my property taxes. They exchanged a look, worried, confused. Stay with us, Michael said. They led me to seats in the middle on both sides of me, protecting me without knowing from what. The meeting started. Boring talk about roads and taxes and building permits. Waited. Finally, during the public comment section, I stood up. My legs shook, but my voice came out strong and clear. I have a question about an old case. My husband, George Morrison, died 4 years ago. The police said it was a heart attack, but I recently found some papers that made me wonder. Were there any investigations into his death? The room went silent. Everyone turned to look at me. Chief Anderson's face changed just for a second. Surprise, fear. Then she put on a professional smile. Mrs. Morrison, I remember your husband's case. It was thoroughly investigated. His death was natural. Heart attack. No signs of anything suspicious. But what if someone changed his medicine? What if someone made it look natural? And I grabbed my arm. Mom, what are you talking about? I pulled out the folder, George's folder. I held it high so everyone could see. My husband left me this papers showing that someone was stealing money, using my son's company to hide it. And when George found out, he was killed. Now the room exploded. People shouting, cameras flashing. The local newspaper reporter rushing forward. Anderson stood up. Mrs. Morrison, you're clearly confused. Grieving. Perhaps you should sit down. I'm not confused. I'm telling the truth. My husband found proof that Richard Stone, I pointed at Richard, was stealing millions of dollars and that someone in the police was helping him. Someone who wanted George dead. Richard stood up, his face red with anger. This is insane. I've never stolen anything. Your husband was sick. He was confused. Lying. Then explain this. I pulled out the recording device Davis had given me. This is George's recording of you and Chief Anderson planning his murder. Press play. The voices filled the room. Clear and damning. This math teacher is becoming a problem. He's collected too much information. We need to handle it. Make it look natural. He's already dying. Just speed it up. Quiche. Complete chaos. Chief Anderson tried to run, but police officers, real honest ones that Davis had warned, blocked the doors. Richard tried to push through the crowd, but Michael tackled him. My son, protecting his father's memory, Davis, appeared from the back of the room, her weapon drawn. Chief Sarah Anderson, Richard Cross, you're both under arrest for murder, fraud, and corruption. They were handcuffed and led away. Still shouting, still denying, but the proof was there. The recording, papers, George's meticulous notes, everything. Anna and Michael stood next to me, both crying. Michael's voice broke. How did you know? Your father told me. I showed them George's letter. I told them everything. How George had faked his death. How he'd really died. How he'd left me the tools to finish his work. I'm sorry we lied to you. Anna sobbed. We just wanted to keep you safe. You did. I hugged them both. You did exactly what your father wanted. You protected me until I was ready to protect myself. The next weeks were busy. Police investigations, newspaper interviews, court hearings. George's death was officially changed to murder. Chief Anderson and Richard were charged with killing him, with stealing $30 million, with destroying lives. Michael's company was cleared of all wrongdoing. The stolen money was returned to the people Richard had cheated. Families got their savings back, their retirement money, their children's college funds, and George, my George, was finally recognized for what he was. Hero. The college where he taught created a scholarship in his name. The police department gave him an award for bravery. The town put up a small statue in the park. But none of that mattered as much as this. One evening, I sat on my porch with Michael and Anna, watching the sun go down. The garden was cleaned up now. Michael had hired someone to help me plant new flowers. What Dad did, Michael said quietly, dying to protect us. I still can't believe it. He loved you both so much, said more than his own life. Anna leaned her head on my shoulder. What you did, Mom. Standing up in front of everyone, exposing those criminals that took so much courage. Thought about that, about courage, about fear, about doing what needed to be done even when scared me. Your father once told me that being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing the right thing. Anyway, we sat together as the stars came out. 3 people who had survived something terrible, who had lost someone we loved, but who had also discovered something important. That love doesn't end with death. That the people we love live on in the courage they give us. That family means protecting each other no matter what. Later that night, alone in my bedroom, I opened the small metal box where I kept important things. George's wedding ring, photos from our honeymoon, letters he had written me over the years, and now his final letter, the one that had started everything. I read it again. You are braver than you think. You always were. He had been right. Had been brave. Not because I wasn't afraid, but because love made me strong. The next morning I went to the cemetery to George's grave. The stone was simple. George Morrison, loving husband and father, math teacher, hero, placed fresh flowers on the grave. Yellow roses, his favorite. I did it. George, I whispered. I finished what you started. I protected our children. Caught the bad people. I made sure everyone knew the truth. The wind blew through the trees, gentle and warm. And, for a moment, I could almost feel George there with me. Proud, grateful. Peace. Car pulled up behind me. Officer Davis got out. She walked over and stood next to me. He was a good man. He said, the best. I agreed. Davis handed me an envelope. What's this? The reward money for helping catch Anderson and Richard. The state was offering money for information. You earned it. I opened the envelope. A check for $50,000. I don't want it. Give it to the scholarship fund. The one in George's name. Davis smiled. He would have liked that. Left. And I stood there a while longer, thinking about the journey I'd taken. From the post office, where Mrs. Chon had handed me a mysterious package, to the bank where I'd found George's folder, to the library where Officer Davis had found me, to the town meeting where I'd exposed the truth. Each step had been scary. Each choice had been hard. But I'd done it, not because I was special, not because I was strong, but because I was a mother, wife, a woman who loved her family more than she feared danger. As I walked back to my car, my phone rang. It was my granddaughter in Florida, the one who had sent me cookies. Grandma Betty. Did you get my package? Did, sweetie. Thank you, Grandma. I saw you on the news. You caught bad guys. You're like a superhero. I laughed. Not a superhero. Just a grandma who loves her family. That's the same thing, she said with the certainty of a child. And maybe she was right. Maybe love is a superpower. Maybe protecting the people we care about makes us stronger than we ever knew we could be. I drove home through the familiar streets of my town, past the post office where this all began, past the library where I'd learned the truth, past the community center where I'd stood up, in front of everyone. Everything looked the same, but I was different. I had learned something important, that we're never too old to be brave, never too small to make a difference, never too ordinary to do something extraordinary. That evening I made dinner for Michael and Anna and their families. My grandchildren ran around the cottage, laughing and playing, filling the empty spaces with noise and joy. As we sat down to eat, Michael raised his glass. To Dad for protecting us. Mom, Anna added for being brave enough to finish what Dad started. Family said to love that's stronger than death, stronger than fear, stronger than anything. We clinked glasses. And for the first time in 4 years, I felt complete. Not because the pain of losing George was gone, but because I understood now that he'd never really left. He lived on in the courage he'd given me, in the love he'd shown our children, in the sacrifice he'd made to keep us safe. Late that night, after everyone had gone home, I sat in George's the one by the window where he used to read the newspaper. I held his letter one more time. Forever your George, he had signed it, and I whispered into the quiet room, forever your Betty. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. Like a weight I'd been carrying had finally been lifted. I made breakfast. I watered my garden. I called Mrs. Chon at the post office to thank her for keeping George's package safe. She cried when I told her the whole story. Your husband was very smart man, she said. He knew exactly who to trust. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Life returned to normal, but a different normal. Better. I started volunteering at the community center, teaching older people how to use computers, sharing my story of how George had left me clues in a digital folder. I became friends with Officer Davis. We had coffee every Thursday morning talking about George, about justice, about how good people can make a difference. Michael's company grew stronger. Without Richard stealing from it, the business thrived. He hired new partners, honest ones, people he could trust. Anna moved back from Boston. She said she wanted to be closer to family, closer to me. She bought a house 3 streets away. And every Sunday, we all had dinner together. Michael, Anna, their spouses, their children, a family that had been tested and survived. One day, about 6 months after the trial, I received a letter. It was from a woman I'd never met. Her name was Patricia Chen. Mrs. Morrison, you don't know me, but your husband saved my family. My father invested his retirement money with Richard Stone. When Richard stole it, my father became very depressed. He stopped eating, stopped leaving the house. We thought we were going to lose him, but because of the proof your husband collected, and because of your bravery in exposing the truth, we got our money back. My father is healthy again, happy again, planning to take my mother on the vacation they'd always dreamed about. I wanted you to know that what you did mattered, that your husband's sacrifice meant something, that you saved more than just your own family. You saved mine, too. Thank you. Forever grateful, Patricia. I cried when I read that letter. Happy. Tears, proud tears. I put it in the metal box with George's letter, with his wedding ring, with all the precious things, because it reminded me of something important. That one person's courage can change many lives. That doing the right thing, even when it's scary, matters. That love and sacrifice are never wasted. As the first-year anniversary of the trial approached, the town decided to have a special ceremony to honor George, thank me, to celebrate justice. I didn't want to go at first. I don't like attention, don't like being called a hero. But Michael and Anna insisted. Mom, people need to see you, need to thank you, need to know that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. So I went wearing my best blue dress, the one George loved, the one that made my eyes look pretty. The ceremony was at the park where George's statue stood, a simple statue of a man, holding books, teaching, sharing knowledge, making the world better. The mayor gave a speech about courage and justice. Officer Davis talked about George's investigation and how it had helped catch dozens of criminals. Michael and Anna shared memories of their father, his kindness, his wisdom, his love. Then it was my turn. I stood at the microphone looking at the crowd, neighbors, friends, strangers, people whose lives had been touched by George's sacrifice. I'm not good at speeches, said my voice shaking a little. I'm just a grandmother who loves her family. But I learned something important this past year. We're all stronger than we think, braver than we know, capable of more than we imagine. My husband died, protecting the people he loved. And in doing so, he showed me how to live, not in fear, not in weakness, but in courage, in love, in hope. I challenge each of you to do the same. Stand up for what's right. Protect the people you love. Be brave even when you're scared, because that's how we honor the people we've lost. By living the way they would want us to live. The crowd stood and clapped. Some people cried. Some people smiled. And I felt George there with me.
Proud, happy, peace.
After the ceremony, people came up to me one by one, shaking my hand, hugging me, thanking me. An old man with tears in his eyes said, "Richard Stone stole my son's college fund. Because of you, we got it back.
My
son is graduating next month." A young woman said, "My grandmother always told me to be brave like Betty Morrison. Now I'm a police officer fighting corruption, trying to make her proud."
A
Little boy, maybe 7 years old, gave me a drawing. It showed a grandmother with a cape flying through the sky, catching bad guys. "You're my hero," he said. Each person reminded me that what we do matters, that courage is contagious, that one act of bravery can inspire thousands more. As the sun set and the crowd left, I stood alone by George's statue. I touched the cold stone, tracing the letters of his name. "Thank you," I whispered, "for trusting me, for loving me, for showing me that I was stronger than I knew." The wind blew, warm and gentle, and I could swear I heard his voice, carried on the breeze. "Forever your George, forever your Betty," I whispered back. I walked home through the familiar streets, past the post office, past the library, past the community center. Everything looked the same as it had a year ago. But I was different. The world was different, because one man had been brave enough to fight for what was right, and one woman had been brave enough to finish what he started. That night, I slept peacefully. No nightmares, no fear, just the quiet comfort of knowing I had done what George asked. I had protected our children. I had exposed the truth. I had honored his memory. And in doing so, I had discovered something precious.
that
Love never dies. That courage can be learned. That ordinary people can change the world. The next morning, I woke to sun streaming through my window. Birds singing in the garden. The smell of fresh coffee. Life, beautiful, precious, hard. One life. I got dressed. I made breakfast. I called Anna and Michael to tell them I loved them. I watered the flowers George and I had planted together years ago. And I smiled 'cause I knew something now, something important, something true. That every ending is also a beginning. That every loss teaches us to cherish what remains.
that
Every goodbye carries within it the seeds of hope. George was gone, but his love remained in our children, in our grandchildren, the lives he'd saved, in the courage he'd given me. And that love would go on forever, unbroken, strong, because that's what love does. Endures, protects, changes the world.
now tell
Me, what would you have done if you were in my place? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out the video on your screen right now. I'm sure it will surprise